Action. I'm back. You back. We back. Just like a smile, you already know it's me. It's your girl P, your favorite bitch and your favorite witch. Welcome back to this week's episode of Postscript, also known as PS, the talk show. And I can't wait to get into our first segment, P's favorite pieces, because we about to get into this hot girl swim. This gives very much early 2000s Target acceleration line. Y'all remember that? Yeah, this is bomb as fuck. Has a little tie up on the side. I feel like this is exclusive because who already done posted that you know they got it. Exactly. And I like the little sound they made. But this is really cute, nice material. Like you know sometimes like netting stuff be like thin and you feel like you're gonna rip it, but no, this is nice. Like I feel like I could wash this and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Alright, next thing is, okay, and this is a two-piece. I'm trying to show both pieces at the same time, and I know that that's not successful, but this is the two-piece. It's like, you know, got the butterflies, little print on it, and then the purple on the inside. And then I'll show you this pieces separate, like the details. The top is like one of those like crossover kind of ones, right? Like that. So it sits all on one side and then like crosses over your chest. And then the bottoms have like the split sides, like with the strings on the sides, right? Okay. And then the other one I got, this is the one I was really excited about. I didn't even know there were going to be other ones. I literally only thought it was going to be this one. This one, which is the purple one, which is so bomb to me, with the little freaking butterfly charms on the side. And this is the top. And this also has the little butterfly charms. Little ASMR moment. So freaking cute. I wish they would have put the butterfly charms on the back of this. That would have been nice too. But these are really cute. Very pleased with my purchase. Can't wait to get in the pool. Coming soon. And shout out to Walmart for getting them to me so fast. Alright, and I'm going to get into our next segment. What pissed me off today? So it's just been something that I have been so blessed to experience. So there's a place across the street from my house. It used to be an Epicurean market, and an Epicurean market is just like a international grocery store, like, right? Not only was it an Epicurean market, it also had a candy counter in it called C's Candy. And they still sell like C's Candy in boxes and stuff like places, but the actual counters are very, very rare. So they remodeled the Epicurean market, got rid of that, made it a liquor store, Specs. But if you know Specs, you know Specs is not just a liquor store. It's where you go if you're going to have a party. They have all the ingredients for a party. It's like pickles, cheeses, stuff for charcuterie boards, like all of the accoutrements that you would need for drinking, honestly, truthfully. But they also have really good snacks. And so I saw this little roll of candy, and it was 4 on here, and I think it was like 55 cents or something like that. But these are something called Zots, and this is a watermelon kind. If you know me personally, you know I'm real black because I love anything watermelon flavored. But they are so freaking good. They have like, it's like it fizzes in the middle, and it's like a hard candy. They're so good. But it really pissed me off because how have I been living here this whole time across the street from Specs and never picked up this little piece of candy to try it? You never know. Sometimes you just gotta try stuff that you ain't never tried that you've been seeing in the store. So this will piss me off today. And we're gonna get into our next topic of the episode, which is going to be conscious cut. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. So for this week's conscious cut, it's just a thought that's been in my mind that I just cannot get out of my head. And I just keep like basically hearing like I really feel the type of way because I feel like the children should be being radicalized, and I know that they're not, because I know that my peers aren't even fucking radicalized. Like, and that is really pissing me off. Not saying that all of my peers aren't, but it's not enough of us that are, I feel like. And then that just makes me go into like a whole different rabbit hole of like, you know, I hope you are playing old school soulful music around your kids so they know that everything is not just a sample, like, and that's really a song and something that musicians before your time even created. Just hope that, you know, the children aren't only being taught at school. And I unfortunately feel like they are. Like, that's the part that really, like, bothers me so bad. But just please try to do your part to radicalize yourself, radicalize your children, radicalize next generation. That's all I can say. And for our final segment of today, hashtag I cannot make this shit up. First thing I want to say is happy Gemini season to all the Geminis out there celebrating their birthdays this month. So a little tidbit, if you are familiar enough with your chart and with astrology, look at where Gemini is specifically in your chart, because like I've said before, the chart is like a pie. It's cut up into 12 pieces. Everything is in your chart. Even if you don't have any planets or anything there, see what house it's in your chart, and that also resonates a message of its own. So even if you don't have any direct placements in that sign, doesn't mean that you don't have effects and you feel the push or pull of the cosmos with that sign, right? So look at where Gemini is in your chart to understand what the sun is illuminating, because the sun is now in the sign of Gemini, which is why we're currently in Gemini season, and why if you're a Gemini, Gemini is your sun sign. All of this shit makes sense. It's all compiled. You know, that's all I always be saying. But look at where Gemini is in your chart to see what lesson is going to be learned or what is going to be illuminated for you in this next month for the Gemini season. That's what I mean when I say that's how I use astrology to check the temperature, to read the room. So we did have the Uranus Sun Cazimi last week that I talked about, and it should be at a point where you're really, and I'm in my Saturn turn down, so I'm gonna get into that bag a little bit later, but it should really be at a point where you are tired of your own shit. And it's a little joke that I got like with my friends. People that don't get tired of their own shit scare me, because how you not tired of that? You ain't tired of living the same life, doing the same stuff, making the same mistakes every day? That's crazy. But even though you may be tired of your own shit, this is not the time for negative self-talk either. Just be mindful of that. I always want to put that little tidbit out there, because I used to be a person who did struggle with negative self-talk, but it was always like, you know, self-inflicted, not from what nobody else had told me or nothing like that. So, and once you change your mindset, you change your life. And when I changed my mindset, I changed my life, dog. Like, clearly. So like I was saying, if you look at where Gemini is in your chart, you can use this every month, every time the season change, the, you know, zodiac sign season change. Look at where that is in your chart and what house it's in to see what's being illuminated for you for the next 30 days. Because when you work with astrology that way, you don't feel like you're always up against something. You feel like you're prepared for what's coming because you understand what's going on and how that affects you. I'm in my Saturn return. The planet Saturn does go into the astrological sign of Aries on Saturday, May the 24th, and it will be there for the next 3 months. So I told y'all a couple weeks ago when I was telling y'all, like, if you could just focus from this day to this day, you'll be prepared for this. Like, everything is short spurts. That's the other thing I like about astrology. Like, you don't gotta look at 5, 6, 7 months from now. We looking at like 30-day windows for real. Like, and sometimes when you use that to set yourself up in that first little part of whatever transit that is that's happening. So like, for example, if you would have locked in with what I said a couple months ago, you would have been prepared and understood and learned lessons from, you know, the other transit that we've experienced since then, so that you can leave things behind that you don't need, add the stuff that you've learned you do need, and keep the stuff that's working. It just, like I said, the planet Saturn is going to move into the sign of Aries on May the 24th up until September the 1st. So I told y'all last episode, you know, I'm in my 10th house energy right now. And that's all that I can really think about. I've really been thinking about my legacy and the next quarter of my life, the next phase of my life. Like, you know, they say like a cat got like 9 lives. I really do feel like we have 9 lives. You have 4 quarters. And each quarter, for real, you get to live 2 lives. Like, and then each year in life in itself has its own quarters. It just depends on how you look at stuff. Like, it's not a real good goal to set super detailed, like, yearly goals. You should probably look at stuff like by the month or by the quarter, or because like when I plan out my calendar, I do it for like the next 3 months, so I know like where I'm going, what I'm doing, where I'm gonna be at. So Saturn is an outer planet, and Saturn is also the furthest planet in the solar system. So it takes a little minute to get back on its starting point. So it takes about 30 years, like I said. So the last time Saturn was in Aries was around the time me and my peers were born. So that's why we're experiencing our Saturn return now. That makes sense. It does. Just say that. But this is like the first time in our lifetime as adults that we've experienced, you know, Aries and Saturn. And then also, you also got to remember, then the other thing I said the first time we've experienced in our lifetime, age of Aquarius. And all of the elements and transits, they all play on each other. Like, you know, it's not a singularity game. It's a game of unison to figure out who's dealing what cards, what's going on here. So I really feel like, for me personally, Saturn and Aries is setting me up for Q4, right? Because if I'm making all this stuff up, what I said, Saturn gonna be in Aries until September. That's the end of Q3. Q4 starts October. And then that sets you up to be prepared for your next quarter, which is going to be New Year and stuff like that. Like, it all just like compounds if you know how to work with it. And then something else that I was hearing when I was like writing my notes out for the show was, I remember like being at my grandfather's funeral, and the person that was giving the service, I guess the reverend, was saying, or the pastor, I don't know. He kept saying heaven is a prepared place for prepared people. And I personally was dreading the experience of like my grandfather's funeral and stuff, because I knew that my family was poor. And I was just like, how the hell y'all gonna have a funeral? Y'all don't have no money. I don't understand how this is about to happen. But my grandfather had everything in order, so they just kind of had to like pick a day. I picked out what he was gonna wear. Like, everything just fell into place. He got buried next to my grandmother. He had already like bought his plot and all that stuff. So that was just something that stuck with me from that day, and I've applied it to so many different ways in my life, because I just feel like experiences are prepared for prepared people. Everything is prepared for prepared people. And the people that's not prepared, sorry. Like, and so another thing I want to touch on is, we have had the 3 slower moving planets all change sign in the year of 2025. And I talked about this in like February, if I'm not mistaken, or January. But Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, those are the 3 slower moving planets in the solar system, and they all moved into a new sign. So that also supports the timeline shift and the change and the preparedness and the reset. And, you know, like I said, that building on to you to be understanding what's happening with Saturn and Aries right now for the next like 3 months, so that you can be prepared to have a good Q4, and then you can be prepared to roll into your next season armored, right? So another thing with Saturn and Aries is just giving like, I don't even know, like school bus. Like, you know how like in the morning on the school bus, don't nobody get off, they just stop and keep picking people up? That's kind of like what is given. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, all right, whatever, just get in the car, come on. It's just not even tripping off nothing right now. It's just like, whatever you throwing at me, I'm with it. Whatever we need to do, I'm with it. And so you're going to feel very much electrified to do things and to start things and to initiate things. Because if you go back and watch the episodes when I was breaking down all the houses, all the signs, all the modalities, Aries is an initiate. They're the start of things. That's why spring starts in Aries season. So yeah, when we talking about Neptune and Aries, Pluto and Aquarius, and Uranus and Taurus, Saturn and Aries, that just spanked me. That took a lot for me to really figure out what I needed to say. All of those transits, whatever you thought was like, yeah, this ain't never gonna change. This is something that's constant. It's not. Just be prepared for that. Like I said, like, just not even worrying about what is changing, but being accepting to will yourself to change, right? So like, because, and another thing I want to say, and the final thing I want to say is, Saturn is the planet of like boundaries and like connections, like ties, like, you know what I'm saying? So whatever part of your life is begging for discipline and for you to lock in, these next 3 months about to spank you if you don't do it. I don't even know what to say. And girl, it's summertime. You need to be outside, not in the house fighting demons, baby. So get it together. We is gonna have a new moon in Gemini on May the 26th. And I'm not gonna get into that too much, but like I told y'all, you know, new moons is when you pour things in. Full moons is when they are illuminated. But with that new moon in Gemini on May the 26th, I just want to say it's time for you to realize and actualize the expression to experience pipeline. So just be mindful of what you say. Like I said, watch that negative self-talk and all that kind of stuff. And then, like, another thing, like, when I was a teenager, I used to always be like, you know, you shouldn't hang around broke people because that's shit gonna, like, rub off on you. And then you're gonna be broke. And then the next person you're gonna like, it's just a never-ending cycle. That's what I understand. Consequences, actions, and long-term. 10th house, girl, it just all be coming back to everything I'll be saying because I'm not making this shit up. So thank you for coming to the show. Please make sure you subscribe, share, you know, watch every week. Please go back and watch stuff you ain't watched yet. Because stuff I'm saying probably don't even make fucking sense. Because that's the way that I designed the show. And I'm sorry if you can't keep up. You know how we end the show? Bitches be mad because they be hating. Bitches be hating because they be mad. Bye, y'all.